Gentlemen, thanks for joining us, Coach and players. First and foremost, congratulations clinching the berth into the Men's College World Series Finals. If you could give us a quick opening statement about today's game.
Yeah, I'm still trying to grasp what happened. We got hustle and bustle there with y'all putting on 3 games, and thank goodness it's going fairly well. 3 games in one day is tough, but a heck of a day to have in Omaha. And us being the sandwich game, like I said, I think it's one of the weirdest games I've ever been a part of. Maybe we came out on the winning end because we have one of the weirdest pitchers I've ever been around, and Xander, and he threw the ball really well and led us into the battle the way that he should. But both teams struck a bunch of balls very well. Both teams made some great defensive plays, and both teams have explosive lineups that kind of leave you on the edge of your seat, at least where I was standing. So hopefully the fans felt that way too and got their money's worth. And if you're a Florida State fan, you obviously got your money's worth all year long, in particular the year that it was for them, remembering a legend as their former coach.
Thank you, Coach. We'll open now for questions for the players. Yeah.
Blake, can you just walk us through that double play that got you out of the 3rd inning?
Was that the one where I stepped on the bag and threw it over?
Yeah.
Honestly, I've had a couple of those plays this year where I messed up by hitting the runner, throwing the second, and he gets on me about clearing the lane, and I just touched the base, threw it over, had a lane, and Dean was there to tag him out.
Think you had it in time before the run was going to score when it happened live?
I have no clue.
Questions for the players right here?
Matt Towery from World Baseball Network. Xander, to keep at bed with 6 of the 3rd innings, striking out 3 batters with the 25 batters you faced of the FSU offense, what was just the chemistry you and Stark had today that got you clicking on all cylinders?
Well, watching some of the games that FSU was playing, I knew they were going to be aggressive and they're obviously an aggressive offense. They're loaded throughout. And I noticed that, and I was like, you know what, we're just going to attack. And if they swing first pitch, they swing first pitch. But, yeah, Stark and I mean, we talk a little bit, but not too much. But it's more during the game that we talk and figure out stuff. But overall, great dude, and I'm glad we got the win today.
Wait, go back. Another question.
Xander, what was it like facing this Tennessee lineup back in the fall?
I mean, speechless, I guess. I mean, I remember in the Fall World Series, it was kind of like that. SEMO took me over the wall at the Smokies Stadium. And obviously, facing Burke, we like to joke that one person has each other each day. Either he goes 2 for 2 or I get him out twice. So it's a little bit in between. And you have Billy there. I mean, Clemson transfer. I mean, he's a threat. I mean, we're just loaded throughout the lineup. And obviously, it prepares you for moments like this, especially with FSU's lineup. You kind of think back to the fall and how you got, for example, how I got Burke out or Billy out. And you just put that forth and compete with what you got.
Question right here.
Xander, I guess this would be the 2nd consecutive game y'all have had a center fielder just kind of try to run through the wall. I mean, when you're on the mound, I'm sure you want to win anyway, but does that put a little juice in you at that point?
Yeah, I mean, KT's catch today kind of set the tone, especially when it was in the 1st inning. And I know our offense scored in the top of the 1st, but, I mean, he set the tone right there. I mean, Dingus hit a good ball, or Dingus, or however you say his last name. But, it's hard. But, he put a good swing on it. I mean, he hit it at 1,000 miles an hour out there. But KT running the ball kind of set the tone for today.
You say that dude's name wrong, he could rip you in half.
Yeah, but there's one guy that we won't talk about.
Any other questions for the players? Well, one more right here.
Blake, walk us through the pitch if you could on that home run. Just kind of, I know you've been, barreling up a couple and finally got that one elevated. What was that pitch and what were you looking for?
First couple of pitches, he threw me a couple of fastballs and then a changeup, and then out of nowhere threw that slider, and it was nasty. It was a back foot slider, and I kind of told him good pitch, so I kind of did that just so I can get it again, because I knew it was coming, and I fouled the fastball off, and I kind of knew that pitch was coming, so I was prepared for it, and I got my barrel on it.
Gentlemen, congrats on the victory. You can be excused.
Good job, fellas.
We'll open for questions, starting right here with Coach.
Yeah, Tony. After getting close the last few years, what's the emotions like for you, and now getting a chance to take this team into the championship series?
Yeah, it's kind of hard. There's a lot of hustle and bustle, like I said, after the game, and then also you want to manage it as well as you can. It's interesting the position we put ourselves in. Kirby, Snead, Combs, and there's others too, but those have kind of been our main three guys. Are fresh as a daisy, if you were watching Tombstone. And Xander's just throwing the heck out of it and got a really low pitch count. So just kind of want to always make sure I'm doing my part and putting these guys in a good position to succeed. But Xander wouldn't let you take the ball out of his hand today, and we decided to utilize those guys. So that's just kind of where my head's at, I guess. It's not a great answer. But, it is cool to see a cultivation of just like Burke's development and Kirby being a mainstay of this program and Xander, his contribution over. So there's we kind of always say before something happens, and there's been a lot of build up into the successes we've had this year and the failures too, to be honest with you. And it's just been fun to be a part of. And as far as my emotions, I'm kind of at the point where I'm just following these guys. There's certain tasks that I have to do, and there's direction that I give them, and they'll listen, but kind of following them right now makes it nice.
We'll go 1 and 2.
You talked about the game being weird, but just how significant was getting out of that third inning unscathed, and how kind of peculiar was that sequence?
Yeah, it was nuts. I'm not even quite sure what happened on Dean's play. He made such a good play. He got a great first step. On the ball he made an error on, he got a great first step, too. It was almost too good. He was moving so fast, and, what happened, but he put himself in a great position to go to option A or option B, and you always take option A as, protecting home plate. And then the next play, just an outstanding job by Xander of keeping his composure. And then as much as we'd like to take back either a couple errors or, we did give up a few free bases, which is, not necessarily, well, I guess one. The guys played really good defense. I mean, KT's catch was incredible, and there's an exclamation point on, I think you guys are the ones that asked me earlier in the year, can he play center field? The guy Jordan Beck did it too. The coach tells you can't do something, and you need to bow up. You need to be respectful to the coach, but you need to bow up to the situation. And he's been a maniac in the outfield during BP. I grew up watching Willie McGee, and he was so good defensively, but if you ever were able to go to BP, it kind of all started there. I mean, he treated BP like a game, and that's how KT is. And he can play any of those three spots as well as anybody, I feel, in our conference, is at least what I know well, maybe even the country.
I want to ask about that third inning, too, the play that Dean made and the play that Blake made. You talk a lot about maturity. Are those the type of plays that a mature baseball team makes this time of year?
Yeah, I mean, Dean will give you a smirk, and, there are a few things that go in the freshman category, but he's oddly mature for his age and physically mature, too. But by this point in the season, you should kind of be a sophomore if you're a freshman. And then, I don't know how many postseason games Blake has been able to be a part of as well as others. And even Xander didn't get to pitch here last year, but he's seen so many of them and now been a part of them too. It benefits you. And again, I would say, you can do something for the first time and still have success. But I think there's some contributions there for sure of our guys kind of relying on the past to be mature and have experience and know what to do in different situations. But the other thing is, too, I'm very blessed with a support staff that's insanely good. We've stuck together regardless of what goes on, good, bad. Maybe I'll make a snide comment here and there, but we've stuck together and incredibly close. And from my standpoint, why we're close is because I want to win. And I think we do have success because of those guys. And in turn, these players, this group of players will listen as well as I can't think of a group that compares to it. They'll listen as well as anyone. So that to me is mature, is taking direction. Even though you are an experienced player, or you're really talented or whatever it might be. And I feel like the guys given direction are really good.
Tony, I guess kind of careers and seasons with everybody kind of evolve and take turns and all that stuff. The past 4 or 5 starts for Sechrist have been big spots with something on the line, and they've all been good. Like, at what point did you think that he couldn't just be a weekend guy but be this kind of guy?
I think when, again, Blake mentioned he's made some mistakes on a particular play, and he bounces back. And I kind of wanted to answer for him there. The homer came after an at-bat where he had a guy at third base and 1 out, and, that's a pretty dang good spot for Blake Burke to be in. Having said that, if you go back, Oxford might have thrown his very best 3 pitches all in 1 at-bat to Blake, but to me, I think he hit the ball so hard the next day because he was determined to have a bounce-back at-bat. And I think Xander, being frustrated with me a couple different times where he came out of the game earlier than he should have, again, you bow up. I mean, I've never had a day in my life where Xander's anywhere close to being disrespectful to me, but there's a way you do it on the field where you show this is what I can do. And the old actions speak louder than words. So I think there's many examples with this team. I mentioned it with KT's defense too, where it doesn't go as well as the guys want. Nate Snead was not in the top 5 or 6 guys in the fall. He was very unhappy. He showed it on his face, and we talked about it, and he went to work. And I think that's a big part of where we're at right now.
We're there in there.
Going back to the preseason or even in the fall, did you anticipate this team having the power numbers that they have?
No, but I don't know that I've applied myself in that manner. Coach Elander will, and it's because it's near and dear to his heart. He did it. He knows how to do it. He works on it with the guys, but it's never a huge stressor. I mean, look at today. I mean, how many home runs could you argue were hit on a day where the wind's blowing out or we're playing in a smaller park? So sometimes it doesn't happen for you the way that you want, but we knew our guys would take consistently good swings. We knew they were very physical, and we knew we'd have some depth. And, Reese didn't have the best day today, but it's kind of nice being able to put Ensley in that DH spot and feel good about it.
Yeah, I think after the 6th inning, Xander had 66 pitches, and Florida State's guys had 120. It was similar to what happened against North Carolina the other night, too. I'm curious how much you think the pitch selection, the way you guys work counts, has contributed to the success hitting all season, but especially here.
Yeah, it's another thing. I mean, I don't know where we stack up with walk totals and stuff like that. It's not necessarily stressed, but it is stressed to have competitive at-bats throughout. And if you take pitches off, you may get away with it in your at-bat, or your day may look good on the box score, but maybe you're hurting the guys behind you. And some of those at-bats were not necessarily productive, again, on the stat sheet. But I do think when everyone in the lineup hooks it up, then it just makes everybody better. Some greater than the parts is the cliche I used the other day, and I think it fits with this group in particular. And it's been really fun to see. I'm kind of staring now. The top of the order was really good today. But as I've said before, there's parts of the year where it's more just the middle, the bottom, and it alternates. And it makes it a headache for the other team, kind of like they were for us up and down the lineup. Alex hits that homer, and Cantu did as well. It's nice to have that weapon on offense.
Coach, again, congratulations. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, exactly.
We'll find someone.